Hey guys, my name is Fire, and today I'm going to be going over a few small mistakes that you could be making on Mirage and how to avoid them. If you enjoyed this video and you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for future videos similar to this one, and be sure to join the Discord server as well. There's always a ton of people wanting to play or just chilling out in there, but for now, let's just get right into the video. The first thing that I want to talk about is a site and how to properly enter the site after throwing an execute. I tend to see a lot of new players just jumping onto Tetris and waiting for CTs to push them. And even if you eventually get a kill by just waiting for a CT to accidentally overextend, by that time your smokes are probably already faded away. This is why it's really important to push out quick when you execute. Now, of course, just saying you should push out quick when smokes are thrown is pretty obvious, so let's talk about the path of entry into the site. Ideally, I'd say that you want to run under balk as soon as you can if you're the first person out to get info that somebody's there or no one's there. It's ideal to do this first so your entire team isn't stuck towards a ramp waiting to see if somebody's dark and if they're going to push out. If you're the first player out, you should always clear this position first. All you need to do is make space for your team so they're able to get the bomb down or trade off you with that information. And of course you need to do it as soon as possible so the bomb could get down before the smokes fade. In matchmaking, I'll admit that it is kind of hard to do this if you're solo queuing, but just try to communicate to your team and try to molly dark and not sit on Tetris if you're doing an A execute. So just know, if you're the first player out, your main responsibility is just to gain info and make space for your team. After the CT player on site is dead, there's probably going to be a player in CT spawn or stairs as well, but obviously the smoke should be covering them off. This is one of the reasons why planting default isn't what you should be doing though. There's plenty of different spots to plant in an execute. The stairs and jungle smokes are there for a reason. Both of them pretty much just allow you to plant in front of triple so your teammate could see the bomb from ramp. If you plant default, as a T, you're not really giving yourself or your teammates a lot of room to work with, and if a CT gets on the bomb and kills the planter, a lot of your team is probably going to be towards ramp and they just won't be able to see the bomb. They'll be forced to run at CTs and it's a whole mess. So if you throw an A execute, don't just run and plant default, try to get a triple plant so the CTs are actually forced to kill you before they defuse the bomb. Overall, it should just result in more post-plant wins if you play off the bomb and don't have to worry about the CTs defusing with you not being able to see them. Overall, just make sure you clear the site quick, have a good path of entry that actually clears out the angles as fast as possible. Don't just sit on Tetris, and get the bomb down as soon as possible in a spot where your teammates will actually be able to see it. The second thing that I want to talk about is rushing B, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it is a pretty simple concept on paper, but when I play lower ranks with my friends, I always see people making the same mistake of waiting behind the molly that CTs throw when they hear a rush coming, which is probably going to come 100% of the time, and T's rushing just don't expect it. And if you sit behind the molly that CTs throw, the entire rush usually just falls apart. Usually half the team gets stuck in front of the molly while the other half is behind, making half the team push out and die while the other three are just stuck sitting behind, not able to do anything. So it's just utter chaos, but there is a really simple solution, which is just calling out in spawn for someone to have a smoke out for the molly, so you don't have to waste time sitting behind it. Although it does sound really simple, I feel like absolutely nobody does this in low ranks. People usually take this into consideration after the CTs throw a molly. If you're ever rushing B, just expect CTs to throw a molly right away. Always have at least one person on your team with a smoke out, so the other four are able to run up without having to worry about being set on fire and losing half their health during the push. So for the love of God, in T-spawn before you call the B rush, please tell one of your teammates to have a smoke out while rushing. The third and final thing that I want to go over is how to play mid as a CT. As a mid player on CT, getting kills isn't the most important thing you need to do. All you need to do as a mid player is get info and play as a rotator. Now with that being said, you can always try to go for an early pick at mid, and honestly there's just a lot of teams that decide to just dry run out mid for no reason with no top mid smoke, so getting the first kill can be pretty easy most of the time, but after that, don't feel the need to re-peek. Stewie shows a perfect example of this if you guys have ever watched him pug on Mirage. All you really have to do is play for information, maybe hold the short push for a bit if there is a top mid smoke, and if you don't see the T's pushing early, chances are that they won't be pushing top mid the entire round. Just communicate that to your teammate, tell them that they could come up underpass as well, and always be rotating based on your teammates' comps. If you have an M4 and know that the T's tend to not have any mid presence, don't be afraid to flank and push top mid or underpass. Always keeping the T's on edge to whether or not you're going to be able to push can be really helpful. But if it isn't working out for you, once again, just sit back and play as a rotator if you don't feel confident in your aim or your ability to flank. So overall, those are the 3 main mistakes on Mirage that I feel like a lot of people make. So hopefully this video made you rethink some of the plays you make and ideally made you a better player overall on Mirage. But besides that pretty much wraps it up for this video. So of course, don't forget to join the Discord and of course subscribe to the channel if you're new. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.